we act like it's a big deal that somebody gets a notification of an exit date or an exit. Oh, you're scheduled for, to be removed from the ride.
Yeah.
But in truth, we're all
There's stories all in India where people actually, supposedly some of the yogis there, who have yogic powers, basically pick a time and they say, well, next Thursday at 3 o'clock, I'm going to sit here by the river and drop the body. And they do it. And it's pretty amazing. The people that go after what they call cities or power seem to be able to have that much control over their autonomic bodily functions that they can just shut them down at will. These bodies die. In the light of self-knowledge, in the awareness that you are, I say that it becomes very apparent that that one isn't the body, and in the light of that knowledge, it's not possible, probable. It is seen that birth and death are just events that happen within the context of life itself. And it seems like that the events in life, in the light of this knowledge, don't seem to be quite as much a matter of life and death. You'll see people just go completely wig out over completely minor experiences, and you swear to God someone's after them with an axe or something. And it really what they're upset about in the vast scheme of things just doesn't matter. But because we've made it mine, we feel threatened. My body. There's two components of the egoic function. There's me, and then there's mine. And anything, a lot of people with their work, whatever they're doing is mine, and they can't separate from it to the point to realize it's just an activity. It isn't who they are. Their work isn't who they are. So this inquiry is a very, very powerful medicine in a way, because a lot of these, the way we operate and the way we behave is almost pathological. When we believe that the events in this life are matters of life and death for the most part they're not.
I remember one teacher.
Yeah.
I remember one teacher, I can't remember who, being asked about, the whole concept of longevity and that we should be able to live to 100 and some years old. And he said, well, what would you do? The same dumb things over again and over again for 20 more years?
That possibility exists. Very good. Were you going to say something, Andrew? Were you waiting? Yeah. Thank you. That's very good. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good. I was even thinking, even with a short life, we can still do the same. Even with a short life, we can still do the same dumb things again and again.
Right.
Yeah. I have a question about ego, but I wanted to comment on what the radiation person was the radiation doctor was talking about. I'm also a physician. I have a brand new patient. I live in Oregon, and in Oregon we have a law that allows patients to choose to end their life if they want to, and it's justifiable by some kind of medical measure. So I've never gone through this process before, and I'm just very basic with her. I've served people through the transition of death a lot, so I spent some time with her, but I'm also kind of pulling out my checklist and talking about things. And without getting into a lot of detail, I learned a lot from these encounters, and I saw something really clearly in talking to this woman that was a good reflection.
Yeah. You want to comment or?
Yeah, just getting a little choked up about it, but yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, I'm
sorry.
I
Yeah.
didn't see.
Yeah, I don't mean to hold anyone in suspense. So. But anyway, she's lived a very full life, successful professional person, hit hard by serious cancer 8 months ago, really diffused throughout her body, and in very good health most of her life. And she told me, too, she was an attorney, and most of her life she was interested in mysticism. You know, we talked a little philosophy very lightly. But she said mysticism to her was there was a beauty in it. And whenever she encountered mysticism, there was a beauty that moved her. But she never really followed any of the trains of mysticism because she found them digested by people who would kind of lose the thread with the actual mystical ecstasy that was expressed. And so she didn't pursue any kind of path of mysticism, but when she found it, she recognized it. And I asked her, you know, if any of that had prepared her for her passing, you know, in any way. And she said no, but she had stopped seeking.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying in the mysticism, you know, that it was more people would get caught up in the ecstasies or the experiences that show up. This also happens with self-inquiry. There's this belief that somehow or another what I am is this state of elation that shows up once the mind realizes that it doesn't really it really doesn't like the job of being me, so to speak. There's a statement there that the mind makes a wonderful servant but a horrible master. So it sounds like the mysticism, you know, basically as I understand mysticism, and I may be completely wrong because I've never been involved with it, you know, in the first person all that much. I look at the word metaphysical, which basically means beyond, I guess in Greek, you know, meta means beyond, is that right? You're the doctor, right? You speak Greek, I'm sure. Metaphysical. It's beyond the physical. And since there's nothing there that we are able to measure, our imaginations can just run wild. And then we can adapt all kinds of belief systems, and with the sincerity or the adamance with which someone will, you know, promote their belief system, people get followers. And then you have rights and all kinds of fun things, and a lot of people can blow off a lot of energy, which is not a bad thing probably. But I've never seen anything, you know, where the emphasis is so much on the metaphysical out there that, you know, in the apparent out there, I've never seen much self-inquiry there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that really blew me away, Bob, when she spoke was, you know, I've had moments of stillness, periods of stillness, you know, relative and rarely, but really absolute. And I could see, when she said that, I could see all the seeking in this being that was in motion. And I could also see the non-seeking, like really, the zero place of the seeking. And it shocked me, like the gap between the two, because I felt like I'd come to relative non-seeking place, but I could still see all the motion, which is really coming from a place of being established separately, and the me and mine needs to get this and that or avoid this and that. I could see the whole motion of that, and yeah, it was kind of visceral feeling about it. So.
But right this moment, you can set that whole process aside. And simply be who you are.
Right.
Yeah. Be what you cannot not be. At that point, you know, in that, there's no effort required.